And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
Well, in terms of programming,
Sounds
should we
fun.
expect to see you here every day? How frequently will these press briefings be?
It is a good question, April. So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off.
They never learn, do they? The woke media tried to corner Karoline Leavitt with their classic gotcha questions, but spoiler alert, it blew up in their faces. Leavitt didn't just dodge their traps. She flipped the script, dropped cold hard facts, and left them scrambling. It was like watching a pro dismantle amateurs in round one. Brutal, clean, and straight to the point. What you're about to see is pure savage energy, so buckle up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any of these fire-filled moments.
Yourself and your role as speaking on, advocating on behalf of the president, or providing the unvarnished truth that is, not to lie, not to obfuscate to the American people.
I can't even blame the reporter for asking that question. After all, they've spent years watching the Biden administration spin everything, from claiming inflation was temporary while prices kept climbing, to insisting the border was secure as crossings hit record highs. So yeah, they're trained to expect more deflection. But here's the kicker. This was Karoline Leavitt's first day as White House press secretary. You'd think they'd ease in, but nope, they went straight for the trap. Too bad for them. Karoline saw
Podium every single day. I commit to speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. That is my job. And I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that. But since you brought up Truth Seek, I would like to point out, while I vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard.
Karoline didn't waste any time making her mark. Just minutes into her first press briefing, she laid down the law, promising real transparency from the White House with facts, not spin. But she didn't stop there. She called out the media directly, pointing to past examples where they twisted narratives, like the time they falsely claimed Trump called neo-Nazis very fine people while ignoring his full statement. And then came the twist. She made it clear that if reporters expect accountability from her, she expects the same in return. Any outlet caught pushing misleading stories? She's calling it out. Judging
As we're dealing with anti-DEI, anti-woke efforts, we understand this administration is thinking about celebrating Black History Month. Have you got any word on that? Anything that you can offer to us?
Clear now, they're not even hiding it. One reporter asked what Trump would do for Black History Month, trying to link his anti-woke stance to being anti-black. But Karoline wasn't fooled. She turned the question around, emphasizing that American history is about the contributions of all people, regardless of race.
As far as I know, this White House certainly still intends to celebrate, and we will continue to celebrate American history and the contributions that all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or creed, have made to our great country, and America is back.
Karoline Leavitt may only be 27, but she's already proven herself a force to be reckoned with. After studying communications and political science, she joined Trump's first administration as assistant press secretary, helping Kayleigh McEnany prep for press briefings. In 2022, she ran for Congress and made a splash by defeating the GOP favorite in the primaries. Though she didn't win the general election, she caught Trump's attention. Now as press secretary,
The president has made it very clear that this is a common sense solution to solving some of the problems that we have seen at the Federal Aviation Administration and also when it comes to many of the federal agencies across our government. People should not be hired based on their disabilities, based on their skin color, their gender, their race. None of that matters. What matters to this president and this administration is how well you can do your job, and the American people agree with that sentiment. So it's about competence, skill, and merit. And so the president is focused on ensuring that the most competent individuals, the best and the brightest in this country, are in positions in this federal government, especially when it comes to public safety.
Karoline Leavitt is rejecting the woke narrative with strength. She made it clear that when it comes to jobs that affect public safety, like ensuring airplanes land safely, the focus should be on competence, not race, gender, or disability. Diversity quotas don't ensure the best qualified person gets the job. Leavitt called out the hypocrisy of those pushing for day, pointing out that no one would want their surgeon or pilot chosen based on anything other than skill.
And I think just to put a fine point on this, because this is the third or fourth question I've answered on this subject, when you are flying on an airplane with your loved ones, which every one of us in this room has, do you pray that your plane lands safely and gets you to your destination, or do you pray that the pilot has a certain skin color? I think we all know the answer to that question, and as President Trump said yesterday, it's common sense.
After such a powerful performance, you'd think no one would question Karoline Leavitt's ability. But then The View steps in with Joy Behar leading the charge. Instead of tackling her arguments, they go for the cheap shot, attacking her looks. When you can't counter someone's logic, you attack their character. Classic, but expected.
I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. You know that's what it is.
I want to be clear, though. It's not her first job. It was her first press briefing.
Say Behar's comments were about gender, but it's really just jealousy. Behar knows she's no match for Leavitt. No amount of training could help her match Leavitt's intelligence and poise. Leavitt speaks with confidence and precision, while Behar fumbles like a rookie. This isn't about age or experience, it's about talent. Leavitt faces tough questions daily and handles them with ease, while Behar takes shots from a comfy set. It's easy to criticize when you're not in the hot seat.
But is there any concern that we risk losing people with years of experience like doctors and let's say scientists?
Well, most doctors who work in actual hospitals and medical institutions have to show up to the office. We know that employees are more productive and more efficient when they are working in an in-office environment, and that's what this administration expects, and I think that's what American taxpayers expect. Don't forget, it's the American people who are funding this government, and they deserve people who are actually showing up to work on their behalf.
Here she is, calling out those pushing for remote work. If your job needs you in the office, then show up. Taxpayers aren't paying for empty seats. They expect real work in return. Remote work might be okay in the private sector, but in government, decisions affect millions, so showing up is essential. Federal buildings are for work, not just appearances. Leavitt made it clear that public service should be about accountability, not convenience.
So look, the president, as you know, is incredibly accessible. First day here, he wanted all of you in the Oval Office. You got a 60-minute press conference with the leader of the free world while he was simultaneously signing executive orders. I may add, that's pretty impressive. I don't think the previous office holder would be able to pull such a thing off. So look, the president is the best spokesperson that this White House has, and I can assure you that you will be hearing from both him and me as much as possible.
Here's the truth Joe Biden struggles to get. Through events without help. Press conferences and executive orders, not his strength. Remember that FEMA briefing where he wandered off, leaving everyone confused? Or that awkward interview moment when he blankly asked, "What am I doing here?" That's not the leadership we need, but Leavitt? She's sharp, confident, and always on point. If she's killing it on day one, imagine what she can do with some momentum. The media can try, but they'll have to get used to it. Leavitt isn't just a press secretary. She's a game changer. Calm, focused, and ready to take on their tired woke questions. That's a wrap for today.